What's up, guys? So today we're definitely going to be doing a top speed run. This is the electric sport bike from China if you guys are new here, but I'm sure you aren't. So today we're going to be installing a battery voltage reader. So this is just a little display that will just read the voltage of the bike. A lot of you guys noticed I actually do have one, but it's underneath this screen. So when you turn the bike on, that screen pops up and that's just a GPS. But if you look down here, on the stock gauge down here, there's actually a battery voltage reader as well. It doesn't seem to be super accurate. This will solve it. This will be a direct readout from the battery. So I definitely want to get this installed before we actually do the top speed run, just so you guys can see if there's any like voltage sag, if there's anything like that. It kind of gives you guys just a true to life, like an actual look, what I'm seeing and then what the battery's doing. And I'll definitely want it if we're doing a top speed. Did I say top speed? I'm sorry, full range. We're doing a full range video. I'm also definitely gonna see with these brakes, they're squeaking again, and I think the pads are just really crappy, so they heat up the rotor a lot too while I'm riding, and it starts to squeak after it starts heating up. So I'm gonna see if I can just get the pads replaced. I'm sure they are very crappy. And I'm hoping too, Lord Kurt said he is gonna be hopefully headed over here. I do have a fan as well that we're gonna be installing. This is, I'll just link it below, then you guys can check it out, but it's a pretty decent fan, and it should do a great job cooling down the controller, because we did have issues with the controller overheating with the regenerative braking on. So I definitely want regenerative braking, but I definitely don't want the bike to overheat. So we're gonna get this installed, keep the battery cool, keep the controller cool, and all around, even if I don't turn regen back on, you know, still cold. Alright, with the new addition of a fan and a voltage meter and everything, I'm going to put regenerative braking back on. I'm just going to go light. I'm going to go about 10% out of 100, and I think that should do it. So here we are in the Kelly controller software. Brake switch, brake percent. So we're going to turn this to, we'll do 10%. You know what? I'm actually going to turn this to 8. RLS_TPS brake percent is regeneration on deceleration. So if you let off the throttle, it's gonna kick on regenerative braking. RLS TPS brake percent, that's the one. Range is 0 to 50, so I'm gonna turn this on to we're just gonna set this at, let's also do 8 on that one as well. Okay, and with those changes made, that's all I wanted to do. We still have to check on the code the controller's throwing, but with those made, I'm just gonna give that a right. And it's successful, so let's exit, quit. Now I gotta restart the bike, and then we'll restart the program and see if it stayed. After those modifications were made, by the way, the controller started throwing me a code. It's a 2.4 code, which means basically the throttle, it says, was actually on when the key was turned on, so it's not gonna spin the motor. However, that's not the case, so I'm kind of confused why it's doing this. We didn't change any wiring, we just installed the fan and the new voltage meter here. That's it though. It had nothing to do with the throttle, so I'm not sure why it's giving me that code. I think I found the problem. This actually could also be the reason why it was cutting out on me. It might not even be a controller overheating problem. Could have just been a loose throttle wire. So, alright, let's plug it back in. Smash like. Yes sir, that wire was the only problem. Turn it on. And you guys can see. I turned regen back on, by the way. So now it stops itself. And yeah, it's all working great. But I'm super excited to get this thing on the road for the full range test, dude. I'm super excited. I just gotta get that tank back on, get the seat back on, and that's it. Alright boys, this light I'm going to do a 0 to 30 to 60. So 0 to 30 and then from 30 to 60. Full throttle. right. Gives us at least a little general idea of what we're looking at, right? The worst part about hub motors though is it's just hard for it to get going, because a full rotation of the wheel, you know, is the time it takes to actually get the speed going. So you can imagine that's definitely the longest time, is just that first rotation of the wheel, and then it starts to pick up speed. But that takes literally a couple seconds to do. But once it has the power, once it has the wheel rotating, it pulls pretty good. It says we're at 81.2 volts. That I don't know, it feels like it's dropping pretty quick. Probably ridden 6 miles or so. 81.3 volts. 81.4 volts. Yeah, it's climbing back up. We good. Then I went ahead and checked out some houses we're looking at. We're gonna be moving hopefully in the next few months. So I thought I might as well just scout some neighborhoods while I'm trying to rack up some miles. 82 volts. We've gone almost 9 miles. Oh man. Dude, that's shaping up to be some insane range. All right, well, I'm gonna give us a once around this neighborhood. I just want to get a feel for this neighborhood to see if we actually like it. See what I see. And then I headed out to the country because I realized the city miles were gonna take a little bit too long because the voltage was just not dropping fast enough. I had already ridden for a while. I will say today was particularly stormy, so there was a lot of wind on my ride. All right, it's reading 78.8, and I've currently gone about 23 miles. So yeah, this is gonna take a while. But I need to head home. It's gonna start raining here pretty soon. I don't wanna get caught in too heavy of a rain with this thing. So I think I'll just ride home and get back at it tomorrow morning. All right, we're at 73. When I checked, it was 73.2 volts, I believe. So yeah, we'll see how it does today. Second ride. To start this ride off, I figured I would, you know, run some errands, check if my favorite coffee shop is open yet, that kind of good stuff. Very pretty day to ride, but very windy again. And then of course, I checked out some more houses and some more neighborhoods on my way out to the country, saw what I could see, and then I headed out to the country. And again, it was stormy and windy, so that did not help, and you'll see what happens next. All right, there's our first shut off. It 65.9 volts. It's still climbing back up, 66 volts, but when I was hard on the throttle, it was basically maxed out. I was going like 58 at this point. That was basically top speed, you know, at this voltage, but it was going down. There was some voltage sag to like 59.8 volts. So it's supposed to cut it off at 60. So I'm just gonna head home, and we'll do some calculations. We'll figure out what basically the full range was. Now this would still have some city driving left in it, but as you can see, I'm like in the country, so I have to like keep up with the speed limit. But I'm gonna have to go a little bit slower just to make sure that voltage doesn't drop too much. But yeah, that's where we're at. Honestly though, I've been riding this for a couple hours now, and this is the second day of riding, so hey, you know what, that's solid. Not too long after this first time it died, it kept dying faster and faster and faster. Eventually, I just got stranded on the side of the road. Luckily, Lord Kurt came and picked me up. That guy friggin' saved the day. But anyway, I got the bike back home and plugged in the charger. This was down to right around 60 volts, and that's the shutoff. 60 volts was the shutoff that we put on the Kelly controller. Basically, if it goes anywhere below 60 volts, which really below 60 volts, it starts damaging the battery. So that's what we set it to, so it started cutting itself off at 60 volts. I will say the bottom end definitely dropped off a lot faster. Anywhere from 83 volts to about 65 volts or so consistently went between volts in a certain number of miles. So I got pretty used to that. But then when I got below 65 volts, I was like, all right, I should probably start heading home, you know, I'll make it, no problem. But then those started dropping off faster towards the end. And I found myself on the side of the road. All said and done, I made it about 83 miles, but I will say that was pretty much almost full throttle the whole time. I mean, most of it was country riding. When I was riding in the city, I mean, the voltage was just barely dropping because first of all, we're going slower, so less voltage is being used, and we had regenerative braking kicking on most of the time for stoplights and all that kind of stuff. So it really did not deplete it that fast in the city. So I figured I would do a 55 mile per hour test. So I went out for the country for probably 2/3 of this ride. So most of it was almost full throttle, around 60, 63 miles per hour or so. If I was city riding, I definitely could have hit low hundreds, you know, 115, 120 something miles. Because I mean, I barely noticed the voltage dropping at all in the city. Another common question I get is how long does it take for this bike to charge? From completely dead to completely full, it should take right around 21 hours, but that's on this baby charger. So before you guys get all crazy and all the haters start typing their comments, let me just say this is a little baby charger. It's better to slow charge your bike. If you do fast chargers, and I know that's a big thing right now, is like fast chargers and whatever, that actually reduces the battery life significantly. So if you slow charge it like we do, I mean, I'm never gonna ride it from dead to full. This thing has too much range to do that, just on an average commute. So slow charging it should take about 21 or so hours from very dead to very full. Again, I'm not gonna be doing that. I mean, I rode for about 2.5 hours, and that, you know, I'm not gonna ride for 2.5 hours just every day, you know, and that was from full to dead. That 2.5 hours I was riding in the last 2 days. Like, I'm never gonna ride that just on my average commute. As I ride it more, I've probably put about, I don't know, maybe 150, 200 miles on this thing already. But as I ride it more and I get, you know, just basically city riding, I'll try to get you guys a city mileage because that's gonna be significantly higher than basically full throttle, you know, 2/3 of the ride. But I will say 83 miles is definitely not bad. I mean, it doesn't sound like much, but if you're on full throttle pretty much the whole time, I mean, that's not bad. But I'll definitely try to keep you guys updated as I do more city riding with this thing. I do post YouTube like posts and Instagram posts, that kind of stuff. So make sure you guys are following me there as well. But that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's kind of scattered a little bit. There was just a lot of different things I had to cut into one video. So I will say we have something super secret coming up. We're actually getting something tomorrow for something special for you guys, very special. Catch you guys next time. Thanks for watching.